What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So with me setting up this new automated hog trap, it presented an opportunity for me to also do a quick video on a DIY 12 volt battery solar setup. This is something that would be great to use for cameras. It's great to use on feeders and anything that would require that 12 volt battery source. It's really simple, and it actually costs around $65, and that's really at your high point. A lot of the stuff that I'm using I already had, so it did save me there, but even then, 65 bucks compared to what I spent when I originally did this is a heck of a lot better. So let's take a look. The first thing we're going to want to do is get these wires ran into the box. So I have already taken out one piece here, so that way we can kind of stretch this casing around the cable. And then what we're going to do is take this guy off as well too. But first things first, we need to get these wires ran. Once we do that, we'll take this guy off and we'll get everything set right. Okay, so now that I have the wires ran through, it's time to go ahead and put in the battery. So what I'm going to do is make sure I can get the battery fit in here snugly first. Now, this is just your normal average size 12 volt battery that you would use for a feeder or, for trail camera. And I have this box from when I ordered the 12 volt battery specifically for spiking. So the mistake in me ordering that is that it was really expensive when it shouldn't have been that expensive. So I started doing my research and I put together my first one that was very similar to this, and then I just decided, hey, I'm not gonna pay that kind of money for this. So here we are. So I've gone ahead and hooked up the wiring. That should be that. And what we're going to do really quick is just take a reading with our meter. Make sure everything's good. So if you do any kind of stuff like this, I would highly recommend having a good voltage meter, just so you can see. We can see that the battery is reading right at 13 volts. That's good. I'll do that one more time just to make sure y'all can see that. So we're reading at 13.05, which is great. So now we have a nice, small, compact casing and set up to hold our camera battery. Now, what a lot of people do is they order a $5 or $6 ammo can off Amazon. Go for it. It works perfect. Just drill, make sure you seal off the holes, and you're golden. And that's really all it takes. So as you can see here, there's still a little bit of a gap, so I've got a little bit more wiring to kind of push down in here and make sure there's nothing holding that. You do want to make sure that your box is sealed, of course. Now I have ran other types of setups and had all kinds of little stuff in the box itself. Whenever I was showing y'all the light setup that I took down, I can't tell you how many Black Widows eggs were inside the bottom of that box, so definitely do want to make sure you have everything sealed for sure. And as you can see, these used to be wired just to plug everything in directly. You didn't have to do any kind of wiring yourself. I'm just not that kind of guy that wants to have to use their product, because their setup was like 150 bucks, maybe more than that. And this literally cost me $45. So I'm going to go ahead and get this sealed off. Once that's sealed off, it'll be done. We'll take it outside, make sure the solar panel is putting out some energy. It is raining, so it's not going to be adding that much more, but we'll just go ahead and test anyway. Now that the sealant is on, I'm going to go ahead and let it dry before I do anything else. Okay, so I went ahead and replaced the terminals, started to look at the other ones, and well, the ends that were on here were not crimped very well. So wanted to go ahead and make sure that we had the best possible connection, of course. So just go ahead and heat this. That way that heat shrink will wrap. Now this is for, I believe, 10 to 12 gauge wire, so don't think we're going to get a whole wrap around it, but just enough to seal it off. When you're doing this, just do it quick. Don't really focus on one area. You want to just spread it out really quickly. I've tried doing this. I don't have a heat gun, so lighter works best. Go ahead and get these connected on the ends here. And that's really all there is to it. So as you can see, I'm getting ready to get the solar panel mounted to the bracket. So I'm going to do that, and we'll take it out and we'll go test the power coming from the solar panel just to make sure it works. Test the battery one more time. Then we should be ready to get out in the field. So the solar panel is hooked up. I got the multimeter turning on. And right now we are showing that it is producing 18 volts. Okay, battery's connected, and we are showing to be pulling at 13.04 volts. So we're done with the multimeter. I have the terminals reconnected, and we should be good to go, and this guy should be ready for the field. Now the great thing with this is when you're traveling, you can literally just leave the solar panel propped up and it'll charge the battery. Solar energy, it's not quite there yet to where we would need it to power bigger applications, but as far as little electronic projects or little stuff that you could set up, these guys work like a champ every time. So I am going to go ahead and bait at the trap. I know I have the feeder in, but I would like to kind of kick stuff into high gear. So literally this is just leftover Kool-Aid, or not leftover, but really just Kool-Aid that my kids never finished. And I just poured a buttload of sugar into it, and I'm just going to mix it and let it sit out there. It'll attract something. Alright, so here's what we got. I actually came out and just weed eated a little bit. As you can see, not the perfect job, but it's enough to see into. It should clear up the view for the camera. So when we're looking at it, we should have an angle right here. That should be perfect. Now, the camera should have a wider angle than what I'm showing you on my phone, but that should be plenty to be able to see into the trap and what all is coming in. So for the solar panel, all I did was take a bungee, went from here, under there, right here, over to here, then took another, went hooked into here, over, down to here. And the reason I did that is these pigs are going to be hitting that. If it falls, it falls. I want it to have some flexibility. I don't want it to be on there so hard that they just knock it down and it's an instantaneous thing. It is what it is. So the camera is set. All right, so as you can see, I got everything set. Everything seems to be working well. Have not had any issues. No, I have had to go back out since and reposition the camera again, just because the angle was not what I thought it would be. I really need to have a whole picture so that way I could see the entire sounder. I'd like to get an idea so that way I know how many are in it, how frequently are they coming, and I need a timeline, because when you're trapping like this, it's not about getting what you can every time it's there. My mind, I'm thinking I want to let them get used to coming in and out of this, and then I'm going to get them all at once. Anyways, that's all I've got for you this week, guys, and I'll catch you on next week's episode.